I'm Richard Flanagan. I'm here to talk about meetings that matter. But what I'm really here to talk about is, first of all, let me ask you a question. How many of you would like your businesses to be more efficient, effective, and profitable? Raise your hands. Okay, what I'm going to give you today in 5 to 7 minutes, maybe 7, 10, is exactly the simplest, lowest hanging fruit you can have to having more effective, profitable, efficient businesses. So let me ask you a question. How many of you attend meetings at work? Raise your hands. I don't see any hands down. How many of you run meetings at work? Okay, now I want to hear some call-outs here. What percentage of the meetings that you attend are well-planned, well-run, highly effective, and a good use of your time? Let me hear some numbers. 20%. What else? What? 25. Numbers? 10. Any other numbers? Let me hear it. 60. Okay, 60. Wow. That's incredible. So I want to talk to that person later. Now here's the trick question. What percentage of the meetings that you run or hold are well-planned, well-run, highly effective, and a good use of your and everybody else's time? 100% here. Right. And he's a great driver, but thinks everybody else is a bad one too. So who else? What percentage do you run? 25, 50, 85. Wow, this is really good. Well, you see what I'm getting at, and here we go. This will give you a little preview of what I'm going to be talking about. The practical alternative to work, meetings. So, you've got lots of company in terms of meetings not being effective. Let's look at this. This is many, many surveys about meetings. 91% of people say they daydream in meetings. I forgot the 39%. This is a very clever approach to doing it. Sleep in meetings. 5%. Look at this one. We are having a meeting to discuss employee retention. Tell them that employees quit because there are too many useless meetings. We won't be getting to reasons at the first meeting. Too many meetings. Down here, doing other work at meetings. 73%. I would guess some other people in here right now are doing some other work. And 47%, I called this meeting and it's not a meeting until somebody's time gets wasted. 47% talk about how meetings are a waste of time. Now, what's that mean? How does that translate into business? I found all kinds of numbers. I don't know how they get these numbers. But just in terms of lost salary, wasted salary from wasted meetings, $37 billion. Now, think about the people out here who said they got 25%. 25% of the meetings were well run and effective, or 30%, or even 50%. Well, the data show that 25 to 50% of meetings are not necessary, are not a good use of time. People report this over and over, that it's a waste of time. So think about you could say, well, that means it's 50 to 75% of the meetings are a good use of time. So they're valuable. But what about that last time? Now, if you have, how many meetings a week do you have? 10. A week? That's probably low. How many people, call out some numbers. How many meetings a week do you have? 30. How many? Numbers? How many meetings a week do you attend? About. Just guess. Wow, 5. That's not many. So we got 30 to 5, but even if half or 25% of those are a waste of time, think about the cost to your company and to your business. So, what are we going to do about this? The title of my talk originally was "We Have to Stop Meeting Like This." And that's exactly the fact. And it's the simplest, lowest hanging fruit you have sitting in front of you every day. Now, I'm Richard Flanagan. I'm a psychologist by training. I'm a business entrepreneur. I help people do things differently and better. Companies and organizations and people. That's what I do for a living. I'm also an executive coach and help executives be more effective. This is one way. Now, I wrote a book with some people several years ago. Some of you have heard this story before, The 6 Disciplines of Breakthrough Learning. How to turn training and development into business results. What I didn't realize was people in the meeting and event industry came to me and said, will you apply this to meetings and events? Because we have the same problem. We don't get business results. We hold a meeting and event, but we don't know what happens from it. So I started working on how to develop breakthrough meetings. And then I suddenly realized that when I'm doing meetings, I can apply the same thinking. Why can't I run meetings using the same tools? So I completely changed how I would run and lead meetings. So let me just very quickly, we're going to talk about why. Why are we holding this meeting? And you've heard this from lots of people. You've heard it over and over again. Simon Sinek, why, how, what. Why is the key. When somebody says we need to have a meeting, the number one first question is why. You'd be amazed how many meetings don't get held when you ask that question. Because people can't answer it. If you can't answer why you're having a meeting, why on earth would you go? And why would you hold it? It's a basic question. So once you've established that, then this is not working, right? But anyway, I'm going to talk about the 6 disciplines now that you can apply very easily to meetings. Once you've established why, the first thing you have to do is define what are the outcomes you want from the meeting before you ever hold the meeting. Anybody that's holding a meeting, when I have meetings, when somebody says they want me to come to a meeting, I ask why, and then I say, what are the outcomes? What are you looking for? The next step is to design the meeting before it ever happens. Design the complete meeting. How's it going to be run? What's going to happen? How are we going to attract people? What are people going to do? Then deliver for application. Application is what meetings are about. What are people going to do after the meeting? It's not a matter of just sitting around talking, unless that's really why you're meeting. If you're just socializing or thinking about things, fine. But what are we actually going to do? This is drive, follow through. Who's going to be in charge of holding people accountable for what happens after the meeting? I don't know about you all, but I've been to so many meetings where the meeting's over and everybody's all revved up about it, but then nobody's accountable, and you come back and say what happened and nobody knows. And that's where active support comes in, because at every meeting we ought to be thinking about who else, other people's support do we need? Who do we need to bring into this? What support tools do we need to make whatever we've decided at this meeting happen? Finally, document results. Probably my biggest frustration with meetings is nobody ever documents what happened after them. It's very unusual unless you assign it, plan it, and cover it. So these tools, after you get the document, you can either talk about defining outcomes for another meeting or start thinking about why to have another meeting. So, define the outcomes. Design the complete experience. Figure out who's going to do what with whom. Follow through, plan it. Get support from other people that you need. Document and measure the results of it. But the first question is always why. Now, there's a big question here, and that is, how many of you all are CPAs? How many of you have done audit? Big part of the room here. The best audit you can make within your own company is about meetings. You look at regular meetings you have. Why are you having them? First question. And then audit those meetings to see if they meet these criteria. If they don't, you're going to be wasting massive amounts of money or giving up the possibility of really improving your profitability, your efficiency, and your effectiveness. Now, just a funny thing happened to me on the way to the forum here today. It's actually yesterday. how many of you all get HBR's management tip of the day? Anybody get that? Anybody? There you go. You ought to sign up for it. It is the quickest little read. It's called HBR. It's from the Harvard Business Review. Management tip of the day, and they give you one idea with 3 things you can do every day. And so, what did I get yesterday? Management tip of the day. Oh shoot, I just lost it. Stop going to so many meetings. This is what appeared. Well, yes. Yeah. Okay. HBR is Harvard Business Review. Stop going to so many meetings, and they've got a great question here that I'll leave you with. As you look at the agenda ahead of time, you can pass your comments. You can pass on your comments to the meeting organizer. But before saying yes to an invitation, ask yourself, if I was sick on the day of this meeting, would it need to be rescheduled? It's a great question to ask yourself about any meeting. If it wouldn't, then do you need to be there? And if you don't need to be there, Pam can tell me what happened. Anybody else in the room can tell me what happened. I don't need to be here, so I'm leaving. Bye.